Now, happy Moonful Monday, or Full Moon Monday even. Here we go. I'm being reminded on my phone that we're actually doing this, so let's turn that off. The moon is full for another 2 nights. So, in the way of planting seeds, we could charge them under the moon. We could go all biodynamic and charge them under the moon and then sow them when the moon is waning, or actually in the dark of the moon, which would make sense because it's going into the deep earth. Even if it's just in a little seedling pot, it's still a deep earth for that seed. Creating something new is a bit like that. We get an idea, and then we maybe get this idea, we could get it in the dark of the moon, shall we say, when we're sitting and we're allowing ourselves to just be. Sometimes these amazing ideas come floating in on a breeze of inspiration. Then, once we've had a little look at it and we've said, yeah, that might be a thing. Some of us will act on it right away. I can tend to do that, which is why I'm really good at starting things, perhaps less than good at making them happen and bringing them to fruition. Not all the time, but sometimes. I can get very excited about things. And then it's almost like I'm forcing my seed, my idea, to grow. And it has no root. It has no foundation with which to weather the storms of my distractions. So it can sometimes fail when a windful distraction comes along. It can blow over. However, the seeds that we nurture, the ideas that we nurture, the things that we look at and note down our ideas about and plan which part of the day are we going to do this in? What do we need to keep it going? How will we make it happen now? These are good foundations. These are roots. A taproot going down into the bowels of the psyche. Getting in there and picking up every nuance of creative juice that we have to make this thing come to be. This is really a mirror of what would happen in the laws of the natural magic. As the moon waxes, an idea comes to fruition, a hope, a wish, a way of being, an ideal. And yes, we are going into the imaginal at the moment, because not the imagination, the imaginal. There's a difference. The imaginal is what could be, can actually come through. Imagination is sometimes seen as a flight of fancy, something to just let go of. However, my imagination is usually imaginal, more often than not. Imaginal is where we journey, where we talk to our spirit guides, our animals, our super consciousness, where we look at our sovereign selves and say, come forward, I need you now. And we don't actually need to go asking cap in hand for this. The sovereign self is there waiting in the background, probably filing their nails or playing keepy uppy waiting for us to just recognise that we have one, that they're useful, and that actually all we have to do is let them go at it. There still is. But there are more powerful us. And more likely in that state are we able to create amazing things. I don't just mean works of art or pottery or anything like that, though these things can be amazing when the sovereign self is actually there with you working. I sometimes find when I'm doing things, it can be writing, can be drawing, can be reading a book even. I will disappear. Time goes on and I'm not there to watch it. And I know that we've all had moments like that where we lift our heads and say, how can it be that time already? Because we were so engrossed. Most of us was actually focusing on one thing while the rest of the world went away. We couldn't even hear anybody speak to us. Not aware of anything else going on. So focused. And you know you can do that when you recognise that you've done it before. So you can do it on purpose. And add little bits. So there's an idea to wax full with. When it comes to the full moon, beautiful, bright, in all her glory, in all her magnificence, in her sovereign self. Basically, it reminds us always of the seasons too, of life, how we start very small, and then we, as our life arcs, we become full. Then we will start to wane a little bit, dwindle. As we wane into the dark of the moon. The moon is a metaphor for many, many things, even from menstrual cycles to the seasons on the earth, to the tidal volumes and waves of the oceans of the earth, which she does have effect over. And which is why she has effect over us, because we are more than 70% water, fluid. Ideas and charging of seeds and being creative is an interesting and just abundant, limitless abundance of ideas and ways of being. And all you have to do is pick one. Sometimes that's the issue, isn't it? What do we choose? Well, shut your eyes, dip your hand in the hat and pick one out. It's the start that matters. As the moon wanes, we can start to let things go, like overwhelm, like stress, like our ideas of not being worthy or not having enough time or working in small doses, not just keeping ourselves tiny, teeny things, not showing our brilliance like the moon when she's full. And then in the dark of the moon, then we get to plant. And so we plant those seeds deep. And we rest. And we allow the universe to embrace us, to envelop us as if we were in a womb. So that when the fingernail moon starts to wax again, our seed is growing, and our seed can grow strong. So think about creativity, think about flow, think about the way that we start the week. Where do we start to wane? Where are we waxing? To quote an old film, wax on, wax off. It's a way of understanding how we flow into things. And it will help with your meditation and with your mindfulness if you understand that there are certain times where we're waxing full and others when we're waning and others when we're in the dark of the moon and we just need to rest. Now that could be the course of a day. In the morning, your fingernail. Midday, you're waxing full. Towards the rest of that, you're waning. And then you go to bed and you're in the dark of the moon, where you rest, where you gather your strength, where the seeds start to grow. Have a think about that. I'll see you tomorrow.